What is going on, everybody? I am back today to talk about a remake, reboot of a 1980s B movie from the Troma company, which, if you guys are unfamiliar, in the 80s, there was a company called Troma that made a lot of sort of ridiculous, overblown horror comedy adjacent movies that were typically discussed in a very negative way, unless you are a part of the community. The people thought these movies were vile and disgusting and mean spirited. And the Toxic Avenger is one of the most, I feel like, renowned in that sort of way. While it's not like critically regarded, there are a lot of people out there who genuinely love it and find it very entertaining. And I have never seen the original. I'm surprised after watching this. I probably will go back and watch the original because now I'm curious. But what made me interested in this was number one, the people that are involved in the movie. This is directed by Macon Blair, who I am a huge fan of, not just for his acting roles, where he's done a ton of incredible acting work throughout his career. He's also directed a movie I really liked called I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore, which I thought was absolutely fantastic. And so, taking on this property, I'm sure he had a very strong connection with it. And a lot of the people involved in the movie also have a love for B movies. Like Elijah Wood is in this, and he is a huge fan of B movies and working on a lot of more weird, obscure projects. And there's a lot of great talent in this movie. I really like Peter Dinklage a lot. Obviously, Kevin Bacon's in this movie. There's a really stacked cast of actors. And so I was really curious with a product like this, how it would translate to, more modern times, and if the sort of charm of like a B movie would resonate through in something like this. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Toxic Avenger today. The Toxic Avenger is directed by Macon Blair. A horrible toxic accident transforms downtrodden janitor Winston Goose into a new evolution of hero, the Toxic Avenger, now wielding a glowing mop with superhuman strength. He must race against time to save his son and stop a ruthless and power hungry tyrant bent on harnessing toxic superpowers to strengthen his polluted empire. So I was really excited to watch this movie. I'm a huge fan of like B movies and like gross out horror. So I was really hoping that this would be one of my favorite things that I've watched this year. And unfortunately, this isn't a very good movie by any means. I feel like I can sort of understand why this movie was slated for release in 2023 and it took until now to actually get a theatrical release. But aside from that, it does have some great moments. There are elements that I really appreciated. But everything that makes a B movie special, whether that be sort of the ineptitude in the filmmaking or the performances at times, the way humor comes across, the practical effects, a lot of the things that sort of really bring the charm to the movie, to a movie like this, everything in this just felt kind of like a cheap imitation of that. Like, the performances in this, they're fine. They do an okay job. Like, the practical effects are cool when they're practical, but a lot of the humor, it just feels really forced and it's not all that funny. And there's so much dead space in an only like hour and 35, hour and 40-minute movie, which made it a difficult watch at times. And I'll talk about that a little bit more when I break the movie down. So in the simplest way possible for this plot, we're introduced to Winston Goose, played by Peter Dinklage, who works at this company that has this warehouse and facility in the community that they live in that's clearly corrupt. It's run by Kevin Bacon's character, Bob Garbinger, and they've been accused of their products harming people, the toxic waste that has polluted the community. They send people out to sort of like strong arm them to buy their businesses and certain things because they're trying to completely and totally take over. And Winston just works there as a janitor. He goes back and forth at home, and the woman that he was in a relationship with tragically passed away. And he has been left to take care of her son, Wade, played by Jacob Tremblay. And he's trying to be a great dad. He's obviously not the biological father, but he's doing everything that he can to provide a life for him. And it's clear that there's some sort of tension between the two of them because the dynamic just really isn't all that established. And Winston finds out that he has become incredibly ill and he has been given a year to live. He is distraught by it. He calls his insurance company. They said he does not have the coverage to get the procedure done that would help him survive this horrible sickness that he's gotten. So he decides to rob his company. And amidst robbing the company, he ends up getting pushed into the water outside of the facility and turns into the Toxic Avenger, or as people call him, Toxie. And the entirety of the film is him teaming up with JJ Doherty, played by Taylour Paige, who is trying to take down this company to come together to destroy this so that they'll quit polluting and harming the community. So, like I said, I really was disappointed in this movie. I do think it has some positives, and I'm going to start with those. I really liked the look of the Toxic Avenger. I thought that he looked really gnarly and nasty and exactly the way that you would want this character to look. There's a lot of really neat practical effects, like when he's bleeding, like his purple sort of blood that's coming out of him, like his eye pops out of place in moments. There's a lot of really great attention to detail with the practical effects and the look of the character. And I also love his glowing mop that he uses as a weapon. I thought that was really great. And so I love that attention to detail. The practicality of the world when it is practical is really awesome. Like some of the kills, they're just as silly and goofy as a lot of those 80s B movies. The villains that they fight have like their design and just like they're part of this like music group. Just sort of over the top ridiculousness that you would want from a project like this. And so all of that attention to detail when it comes to the practical effects and like the environment of the world is really awesome. You could tell there was a lot of passion involved in creating this and bringing it to life in a way that people could sort of immerse themselves into the world. Also, all the performances in this movie are good. I really enjoyed all the performances. I feel like everyone was dedicated to the character that they were playing, and that brought a lot of charm to the movie as well when you have all of those really solid performances throughout. And some of the kill sequences are ridiculous. There's some really over the top comedy that I can very much appreciate, but that also leads into my issues with the movie, which is that I feel like this is trying to emulate something that it just can't be. There's so many attempts at humor. There's one joke in particular that I feel like perfectly sums up the attempt at trying to be something that it's not. And that's Taylour Paige's character is talking to Jacob Tremblay's character about like the tragedy that they've both suffered in their lives. And she ends up making a joke about someone that she knows getting run over by a Zamboni. And they try to really like lay into it because, like I said, those 80s B movies have that like really mean spirited feel to get a joke out of you, is like to be really over the top. And it just felt so out of place with the rest of the movie, and it was like they were trying so hard to get the punchline. There's a equal scene early on in the movie where the person she's working with gets a hold of information that can sort of take down the company, and the villains come and kill the guy who helps her steal that, and they like shoot him, and he does the like, is that all you got thing, and then they take him down again, and he's like, really, is that all you got? And they do it like 3 or 4 times, but the timing of it, that's something that could be really funny, but the timing of it is so unnatural, and the delivery of it, it's just like every time they tried to do one of those things that you would see in an 80s B movie like the original Toxic Avenger, it just never came through. It was just really sort of lazily done. The structure of this too, the pacing is just really awful. I feel like it just felt more of like a collection of scenes. The way they would introduce characters that like, were just there to either be killed or what have you would get confusing at certain times. And I just feel like there might have been more to this, like more of an idea of things that Macon Blair and the team wanted to accomplish. And I wonder if the production company was like, we need to cut this out or streamline this in one way or the other, because it just felt really disjointed. And some of the humor was really annoying. Like there were certain jokes that just never came through in a way that I found very effective. And even though there were moments where I was like, hell yeah, this is like something I would really enjoy in an 80s B movie, there were so many more moments that I was just like, wow, this is kind of insufferable to watch. And I wish that I was watching something else. And so it makes it really difficult for me to recommend something like this because it's just not at all what it should be. And although there are solid moments in it, it's just not enough to make a really great movie. And that's disappointing because clearly there are a lot of people involved in this project that have a passion for it. I just think ultimately it sort of falls flat on its face because it can't emulate the product that it wants to be. So have you seen The Toxic Avenger? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was a real disappointment. There were some great moments in it, but I feel like as a movie, it was just a letdown. And as always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.